great. I miss you all. This is Miss Briggs, and I am so excited to be with you all today to talk about unit conversions. I was inspired by Chef Rupsch and Miss Jolly when they were doing their recipes and their conversions, so I'm going to do another one for you all today, and we're focusing on our standard, which is I can convert different units of measurement. So today, as we are cooking, we are going to be making blueberry chocolate chip pancakes, and we are going to be focusing on the units of measurement of cups, ounces, and then pounds. So I'm going to talk through some of those things, and it's going to be really easy. This is a very easy recipe. I made it easy on myself. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I need to do, I have my tools, just like in your kitchen. I have my measuring cups, and really this is the main thing that I'm going to use today. And I have my mixing bowl, and then I have some other ones over here, but I think these are the only ones I'm going to need to use today. So the first thing that I'm going to do, like I said, it's really easy. I have my pancake mix here, and it gives me the directions that if I wanted to make 6 to 8 pancakes, I need 1 cup of mix and then 3/4 cups of water. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure out my 1 cup of mix. Alright, so we'll see the best way to do this. I might just pour it into my cup here. There we go. It's kind of working. And the good thing too with pancakes, I feel like you don't have to be as precise with your measurements. I'm making a mess, and that's okay. So pretty. Okay. So I've added in about a cup of the pancake mix there. And the next thing it told me to do was to add 3/4 of a cup of water. So going off of that, I'm going to set that down for a second. I'm also thinking about a unit, a different unit, and something that I can convert that 3/4 cups of water to. So I know one of my conversions is that 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So if I have 3/4 of a cup and I'm converting that to ounces, one way that I could think about that is that if I have 3/4 of a cup and I know that 8 ounces are in 1 cup, I might multiply that by 8 over 1, or 8 overall, that whole number 8. And I know that I know that when I multiply across that way, I would get 24 over 4. And when I look at that, I see that in proper fraction, and I know that I can divide that 24 by 4, which would give me 6. And I know over here I had that 3/4 of a cup. I had my 8 over 1 because I know that 8 ounces go into 1 cup. And now I know that 6 ounces is what I am measuring out. Now, if I were doing that for this recipe, it already told me I just needed 3/4 of a cup, but sometimes I might get a recipe that has different units involved, or I might be following a recipe from someone else that may not have converted it to cups for me. So I will go ahead and measure that out over here. Now, I just have 1/4 of a cup. So I'm thinking to myself, if I just have 1/4, is this going to be okay? I can't just put one of them in there, and I don't have a 3/4 cup on me right now, but I know that 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4, right? So I'm going to fill up my 1/4 of a cup, add in 1, 2, and 3. And as I was doing that, friends, I was also thinking that sometimes you might have measuring cups that don't have just the cup measurements on it. It might have a liquid measurement for ounces. So if I didn't have these in front of me, that might be a really useful thing to know if I was converting that measurement. So moving on for the rest of the recipe, if I were just making regular pancakes, I've done it, and that's the easy part, right? But I'm not. I'm going to add blueberries and chocolate chips in as well. So first, I'm going to go ahead and stir this up with my little baby spoon, which is probably not the best tool to be using right now, but that's okay. So I'm mixing that all up. And now the next thing I'm gonna add are my blueberries and my chocolate chips. But first, I wanna backtrack. I wanna think about when I was going shopping in the grocery store for these items. And on this package, it doesn't give me blueberries or chocolate chips in that recipe, but I wanted to add them. So I'm thinking back, I was in the grocery store and I saw on my blueberry package that it had 6 ounces. I don't know if you can see that. 6 ounces or 170 grams in this package. So with that, I just did a very similar conversion, right? I took my 3/4 of a cup and I converted it to ounces. But if I wanted to convert ounces back to cups, I could do that based on this conversion that I know. I know that 8 ounces equals 1 cup, right? But if I saw that that blueberry package had 6 ounces in it, I could also think of it as 6 ounces over 8 ounces that are in a cup, right? So I could do 6 over 8, which would equal what if I'm reducing that fraction? Well, I could think of it, I could take it 6 over 8, and I know that a common factor between both of those numbers is 2. If I divided that 6 by 2, that would give me a 3. And if I divided that 8 by a 2, that would give me a 4, which gives me 3/4 of a cup, which I already knew from up here, but I could do that conversion the other way too, and I would be able to get that same answer. So for this, I'm just gonna go ahead and add all the rest of the blueberries in my package. It's about 1/4 of a cup, but I'm just gonna eyeball it for today. So I added those in, just like that. Now, I'm also gonna add in my chocolate chips. And then here's where I'm gonna bring in another unit conversion. So, thinking back, rewinding to when I was in that grocery store, I could look at this chocolate chip package and I could see at the bottom here, we zoom in and see that it has 12 ounces. It has a net weight of 12 ounces. So, thinking back, I wanna go back to my unit conversions that I know. I knew that 1 cup equals 8 ounces. But I also know that 16 ounces are in 1 pound. So if I wanted to think about how many or how much of a pound was that bag of chocolate chips, I could do that conversion too. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back over here to the fridge. It's my makeshift whiteboard. And I'm gonna think about how much of a pound is that bag of chocolate chips, okay? So I knew that I had 12 ounces. 12 ounces, and I know that 16 ounces go into 1 pound. Okay, so I'm gonna do that over 16, 12 over 16. Now, very similar to the other conversion we just did, I can reduce this fraction again. So I'm looking at this and I can see that there is a common factor of 2 between both of these numbers. So I'm gonna divide that 12 by 2 again, which gives me a 6. I'm gonna divide that 16 by 2, which gives me an 8. And then I'm going to reduce this again because I know that 6/8 is not the furthest I can go with this number, right? I can reduce it again. So doing that again, I could divide that 6 by 2, which would give me a 3, and that 8 by 2, which would give me a 4. And friends, that gives me 3/4 of a pound. So looking at that bag of chocolate chips, I know that that could give me 3/4 of a pound of chocolate chips if my recipe called for that much. Again, I'm just gonna add however much I have left in my bag. And lastly, I just wanted to think before I mix it all up and make my pancakes, I wanted to point out too to you all that on a lot of the packages you see, you'll also see that unit of measurement in grams. And a lot of times when we're baking or cooking, grams don't really help us out a lot because we use a different system. But if you're using in a system in other countries or you're making a recipe, a lot of times they do use those units of measurement. So I was thinking to myself too, if I were following a recipe from somebody baking in England or Italy or somewhere else in the world, and maybe I'm watching a video, I might need to know that unit conversion as well. And a way that I wanted to challenge myself too which I might pose that challenge to you all as well, is whether or not I could figure out the unit conversions for grams to pounds, or grams to ounces, or grams to cups, based on the unit conversions that we talked about today. So we know that 1 cup equals 8 ounces. We know that 16 ounces equals 1 pound. So I'm wondering to myself whether or not I could figure out the conversion for grams as well. And I think I might type out a question or a comment when I post the video and see what you all think about that. But I'm gonna go ahead and mix my pancake mix all together. I'll post a picture of the finished product for you all. And as you're watching this, I want you to be thinking of ways that you can incorporate unit conversions into your own cooking or into your own daily life. Maybe you're helping somebody at home cook, or maybe you're doing that for yourself. But I would love to see pictures of what you're making, and I would absolutely love to see those unit conversions that you're doing in that spreadsheet that Miss Rupsch posted. I would love to see that. So thank you all for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up and make my pancakes, and I will be sure to post a picture of the finished product for you. So thank you, it was good to see you all.